Understanding the risk of trading altcoins. Now, altcoins are a lot riskier than trading Bitcoin, and I am talking especially about altcoins that are ranking like 200 and below. Okay, those are going to be some risky assets that can go down 30 to 50% in a week. Okay, I hold quite a bit of those because I'm comfortable with my own risk tolerance. I've been trading in this market for over 5 plus years, so I'm comfortable with both the upside potential as well as the downside risk. But for those of you who are new to this market, just understanding what you're getting yourself into, and a lot of that price action is going to be tied to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin pumps, that is good for the altcoins in general. However, if Bitcoin dumps, that's also very bad. So that's why we talk about Bitcoin first, as the first thing in the morning. And I do not trade altcoins without a clear understanding of the Bitcoin charts. All right, we're also going to be talking about some altcoin setups and price targets later in this video, usually after the 10-minute mark. I'm going to be talking about Zebec Network, ZBCN, Sonic Coin, that is S, that's the symbol, as well as Pump.Fun. See what has gone on in these markets since the last time I've talked about it. What has changed? Any updates on their price targets and setups. Very important to know. Now, we're also going to be getting into some major crypto news here. We do have the FOMC meeting happening tomorrow. That is a major event. Even though the rate decision is basically, as at least for this month, it's basically set in stone. Okay, let's take a look here real quick. Okay, so, this is the Fed Watch tool. Okay, the CME Group Fed Watch tool. Very important tool to be paying attention to because this is one of the few macro um, ideas that affects, at least my trading as well, that impacts my trading. And if we actually take a look into July here, okay, we have about a 2% chance of a rate cut. So that's basically no rate cuts because yeah, I mean that's been that's basically been set here for the past month. Now, for September, however, we're looking at over a 60% chance now. Okay, so that is looking good for September, right? So something very important to be paying attention to. But um, even with the rate cut decision pretty much set, I expect volatility to be coming during the speech for Jerome Powell. I have seen crazy volatility before, some where I have gotten liquidated in my leverage positions. So, what I'm currently doing is that I am not over leveraging myself, making sure that I have enough margin to cover my current positions. Because I still believe that we're in a bull market, and as long as I can survive some of these volatilities, especially for my leverage positions, I will be able to ride this out and still make a profit on my longs, as this bull cycle continues. But of course, this video is just my opinion and not financial advice. You got to do your own research, okay? Um, I am long on Bitcoin and quite a bit of the altcoins here, so I am still, of course, bullish on this market, and I'll tell you guys when I change my opinion. All right, let's go ahead and get into some news here. I'll give you guys my instant reaction to some headlines. This is by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin slides to 117.5K amid warnings. Further Bitcoin price drops next. Um, I mean, I think this headline sounds scarier than it actually is because I do think that even though Bitcoin has potential to drop, there's quite a bit of short term moving averages coming up to the price action, including the 12-hour 50 SMA, the 4-hour 200 SMA. A lot of those could be, pretty good bounces for Bitcoin. Now, would those bounces be the bounces that take Bitcoin to higher highs? We are still yet to be able to see that. That is not what technical analysis is about. It is about giving me an edge and giving me ideas on how to read the chart and make a much more informed decision. Okay. I know a lot of you guys ask me, for end of year, end of bull cycle targets. No, that's not what technical analysis is for. It is for me to look at a range and see where the price action is could be ranging and before a move is about to happen, okay, and looking for reversal signals, right? That is what I mainly use TA for, and that has done wonders for me, okay, especially comparing to when I first started trading and did not know how to read any of these signals and jumping into major green candles that are pumping on the day of and getting myself into high stress situations. All right, next here is by the block. Bitcoin shrugs off 80,000 Bitcoin OG whale sale as Ethereum demand explodes and open interest dominance nears 40% nears 40% analysts. Yeah, I've been seeing Ethereum on fire. I've been trying to catch a dip on Ethereum. Probably going to be looking more into buying a dip on Ethereum after this FOMC meeting. I usually trade Ethereum on leverage, right? Otherwise, it just doesn't have the volatility that I'm looking for, especially during a bull market here. Okay. Um. So yeah, I mean, I have seen altcoins, Ethereum just been exploding. Okay. I've talked about the total three chart, which is very important. Which has broken out of a huge pattern on the daily time frame. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next piece here. Next piece here, it's going to be Bitcoin. It's by ZY Crypto. Bitcoin retail accumulation source. What's next as China and US hit pause on tariffs? I am not exactly sure what the news on between China and US on the tariffs. If you guys have any insights on that, are we taking a pause again? If so, I think that's pretty good news, right? Because that affects inflation less, right? That puts less pressure on inflation. But I do know that there has been quite a bit of tariff deals that already got done in the past week, including the one with EU. I thought that was going to be the one that's going to kickstart this uh, Bitcoin price action, but it doesn't seem like yet. All right, let's go ahead and go to the next piece here. It's going to be by Crypto Potato. It's institutional profit taking about to derail Bitcoin's rally. I mean, I don't think so. Just my personal opinion. I do think that we're still waiting on retail interests to continue, right? So one tool I use to pay attention to retail interests is by the search volume for Bitcoin, and this is on Google Trends. And right now, what I'm seeing here, let's refresh this page real quick. This is on the weekly. This is by weeks, okay? So what I'm seeing on Google Trends is that it's gonna help me track retail interests, right? And it has pretty good correlation if we actually look at the trends comparing with previous bull cycles. And currently, since last week we have been at a 44. And this is for the U.S., right? Just narrowing down on the U.S. here. Right now, on this week, we're seeing a 36, but if we actually compare this trend with previous bull cycles, 2021, 2017, I'm seeing some quite a bit of some similarities, and I don't think retail interest is exactly like on full blast shit. Okay, so I do think there's quite a bit of room to go for this bull cycle, and I don't think institutional profit taking is gonna derail the Bitcoin rally, at least in terms of this bull cycle, right? On the monthly time frame. All right, next is going to be by News BTC. Expect a new Bitcoin price rally. Analyst connects M2 lag to 130K target. Now, I have been hearing quite a bit of about this M2 lag. It's a macro indicator that tells me, that there's a correlation between countries printing money and the Bitcoin price action, right? Um, I've heard this from my friends in person, and I think it's very interesting. I have not exactly taken a look into the indicator itself yet, or played with the indicator. But if you guys have any insights about it, let me know. Let us know in the comment section below. All right, let's come over here to Bitcoin chart real quick. This is a very important chart to be paying attention to because I talked about this 2 days ago where it looked like Bitcoin could be breaking out of this falling wedge pattern that is more validated on the 12-hour time frame. But what I'm seeing here is, like I said, all right, we're still at the crossroads here, right? Bitcoin looks like it's still trying to break out on the daily time frame. What I mentioned to be a fake out sign here is there's still potential for a fake out here is that if we get a solid daily candle close below the daily 21 SMA, which is basically at the upper trend line here now, if we actually get a solid candle close, and if there's more downside to Bitcoin, that's going to affect the altcoins. And the next piece of next support here I'm looking at is not too far down. Okay, currently it's 12-hour 50 SMA. That's currently about 116.3. Right, that's not too far down. Okay, so that's basically what I'm looking at. Let's zoom in just a little bit for Bitcoin. um where there looks like there is a bear trap here, right? It looks like, the price action, the bears actually try to break down from this falling wedge pattern. This is on the hourly time frame, but the bulls bought it right back up with volume confirmation here. So this could increase the buying pressure. Let's see if this is enough buying pressure to break out of this falling wedge pattern now. That's on the hourly time frame. And if the bulls are successful, and if this breakout actually pulls through, then we're looking at a price target of just right above 125K. Okay, so that is basically what I'm looking at, and that could that could very much pump the altcoins. Let's take a look into the altcoins now. Okay, we're first gonna be taking a look into ZBCN, which has been going nuts today. One of the few altcoins going nuts today. And we're seeing a bunch of red here, but it's not too surprising because we're just one day before the Fed meeting, and usually during the week of the Fed meeting before it, I don't usually expect too much to be happening. There could be some anomalies, but it doesn't seem like this is the week here, at least not for Bitcoin. All right, so ZBCN. Okay, this is the we're gonna take a look into the daily time frame where I pointed out a falling wedge pattern. Falling wedges usually break to the upside. Okay, and in this case, it did for quite some time, and it hasn't done too much for a while. The price target for this breakout is about 0.58 cents here. Okay, ZBCN basically has reached that target just very short of. Okay, so it's going to be interesting to see what it does next. Could it be continuing from here, or could it be taking a pullback before anything else happens? Okay, so let's take a look into a shorter time frame here and see if I can get any clues on what Zebec Network could be doing. Okay, so quite a bit of divergence on this RSI, on this hourly RSI, so it could be pulling back to at least the hourly 21 SMA here. That's currently at about almost 0.5 cents there. Okay, let's take a look into any other time frames with divergence, which is important to know because that gives me an idea of is a pullback likely. Okay, on the 4-hour, I don't see divergence yet. So something to be paying attention to. Okay, now if we actually go back to daily time frame, right, and just look at possible resistance levels, right, there is going to be resistance here at about that 0.55 cents level, if you guys can see, because if we actually take a look at this part, just this zone right here, you can see that there has been wicks here on this daily time frame telling me that there has been resistance and a pullback. So resistance is it's expected here. Now, if ZBCN is able to work its way back up to about 0.72 cents, as you guys can see, this could form a cup and handle pattern, but that is still a hypothetical situation, right? It hasn't been developed yet. And as long as ZBCN continues to have rounded bottoms or higher lows, that could be a likely scenario. And if that is the case, we can come back here and explore this market and talk about it if enough of you guys want to see it. Let's go ahead and go to Pump USDT or Pump.Fun. Now, could this coin be changing? Okay. Is there a change coming for this coin? I do see a trend break here out of this falling wedge pattern. Let's see if this is a legit break. I talked about this pattern a couple of days ago. That was probably on the 6 hour time frame, where it could have been more looking like it was validated, right? It did, the bears did actually try to break down from this pattern, but in my opinion, I don't think that was a solid enough candle close below the pattern, and this was a bear trap where the bulls bought this right back up and goes back into the pattern before breaking out of it. So since it actually has broken out of it at this point here, this will give Pump.Fun a price target of about 0.6 cents, short of 0.6 cents price target here. There is divergence on the 6 hour time frame as well. Okay, so this could, it's playing out right now. Like I said, it's going to be these indicators are very simple but effective, right? Bullish divergence playing out right now. It is at the 6 hour 21 SMA as resistance. Okay, the blue line there, quite a bit of resistance between where the price is right now and the price target. Okay, could Pump.Fun reach that price target? Now, price targets are estimates only. There could be more or less. Very much depends on what the market could be doing, particularly what Bitcoin could be doing. If Bitcoin dumps, that's not going to be good for the altcoins. Okay, if Pump.Fun actually is able to reach its price target, we can come back here and revisit what it could be doing then. Let's zoom in a little bit more and see if I can get any more clarity on what it could be doing here. Well, it has just reclaimed some moving averages on the hourly time frame, 50 SMA, 21 SMA. Next piece here is going to be the hourly 200 SMA on this time frame at about 0.3 cents price level right now, coming down. 12-hour time frame, not a double bottom pattern, but there is still divergence across quite a bit of these lower time frames. Something to be paying attention to, as they could be telling you that a reversal is still likely. Okay, let's take a look into Sonic coin, see what's going on with this coin since last time. I talked about a huge falling wedge pattern here that is on the 3-day time frame. Broke out of it, right? This breakout still valid because the price action is still above the upper trend line here, with candle closes. Now, price target for this coin for this breakout here is about 94 cents. Could Sonic reach that price target? Quite a bit of moving averages in between that's going to be acting as resistance, including an immediate one here. The 3-day 21 SMA about 35 cents. 3-day 50 SMA about 44 cents. Let's zoom in a little bit and see if I can get any more clarity on what could be happening. 4-hour time frame. This is a falling wedge pattern. If it breaks out of this smaller falling wedge pattern here, let's just say, for example, by this point, price target would be about 39 cents for Sonic. Okay. Now, always got to consider the downside risk when I look at these patterns, because even though falling wedges tend to break to the upside, they could still break to the downside as well. So very important to be continuously refreshing and charting these as new data comes in. Okay. Possible downside scenario here, if this falling wedge actually breaks down, the next key resistance support I'll be looking at would be about that 26 cents range. As you guys can see, this is the weekly time frame, and it could potentially form some type of a double bottom, just hypothetically right now. Now, this basically wraps up for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of these coins. I'll see you on the next one.